Hello and welcome to the intro class for the tour of the chakras. My name is Angelique Befew, and my business is mysticsalchemy9.com. So, welcome. Today we're going to learn about the chakra system itself and both the hard science and the theoretical science in order to bridge the gap between metaphysics and the body and the actual experience of the human energetic field and the energetic system that are the 7 chakras, among others, but we're going to be focusing on the 7 chakras and the channels that connect those 7 chakras that move through the system. So as we begin, I always like to ask a question just to get you thinking. So the question is, what are you made of? So as we begin today, I would ask that you center yourself in your heart center. Not in the actual organ of the heart, which is just slightly to the left of center, but to the central heart chakra. So if you just begin by taking in a deep breath and allowing the air to exit from the bottom of the lungs, middle, top. And when you take your next breath in, allowing the lungs to fill up bottom, middle, top. Again. Welcome. That breath can be used anytime that you need to resettle yourself, your mind. If you're feeling out of sorts, it's a breath that immediately brings us to the present. The breath is always used in practices such as this in order to rebalance our experience in the now, in our physical presence, and has the ability to shift us out of upset, disturbance, or anxiety. So all of us experience anxiety to a certain point. Continue to use the breath and center yourself right here in the center heart. So if you are wanting to discover exactly where that space is, it's a little different on each person because of the length of our torsos can vary. But essentially, if you bring your fingers right under the collarbone in the divot, and then you go down about 1 inch or 2, you'll be at the high heart, and that's not where we want to connect into. That's not where we want to find center. Moving down, typically at the sternum, about 1.5 inches to 2 inches above where the rib cage begins to separate, and about 2 inches down from that collarbone and high heart region. So even if you take a finger and feel into that space, and don't press too hard, you don't have to force, right? Just connect within that space and begin to feel your heartbeat, the pulse, or the warmth, the sensation of that region. And just make a decision I am anchored here. The Tour of the Chakras is a class that I started to compose back in 2011 when a number of students, both Reiki students and meditation students, were curious about how to understand each of the chakras. As I was making a lot of references to chakras, and as a Reiki master practitioner teacher, I would refer to the chakras, but people didn't necessarily know how to translate what that meant for them. If I said their root chakra had imbalance, they didn't necessarily know what that meant in a practical sense, and then how to bring it into balance. So there's work that we do to develop our chakras, to strengthen them, and to create harmony within the system. And then there is the work that we do to evolve chakras. And my classes will give you the tools to be able to both develop an understanding, begin to understand if certain things are happening in your everyday life, certain experiences, emotional, mental, physical, or spiritual, metaphysical, beyond that which is physical, things are reflecting back to you. You will be able to start to identify which of the chakras or which grouping of the chakras is in an imbalanced state, and how to bring that back into a balanced state. So that's harmonization. But a number of us, what is normal, what is our normal, is we start to outgrow a desire to be in that normal. So we're not looking for harmonization or rebalancing to what we know. We're looking to evolve. We're looking to become more of ourselves, right? More of our purest desire in that evolution, the desire to become better. Not better than others, but better than we have been. So that's where the evolution part comes in. We can evolve, we can create a new alignment. And so there's a huge spectrum of what we can do when we understand our energetic system. And when we are practitioners, energetic practitioners, the more we understand our own systems is the more that we can help other people. Not that we're all having the same exact experience of life. For some of us, the throat chakra will be benefited by spending 90% of our time listening and only 10% of our time speaking. And for some people, it needs to be at a more 50-50. And for some people, they're at an evolutionary developmental space where it's really important that they learn how to really use their voices because they have a lot to communicate. And so that's just for, of course, the throat chakra and the solar plexus chakra. We'll get into all of these things. But so we're not all aiming at the same thing. Each of us are individuals on our own path. So our heart connector exercise is to rub together the nadis. Now the nadis are the edges of what are these energetic lines that run through us, right? So in the 5,000-year-old science or more of Ayurveda, Eastern medicine, which is typically based in the Eastern Hemisphere, there is an understanding of this energetic system that has been long practiced. And there are a variety of modalities or techniques to assist in bringing them into balance. So Reiki is one of those techniques. Meditation is one of the personal technologies that we can use to bring our systems into balance. Of course, the more conscious we are, is the more ability we have because we can create a clear intention for ourselves. But acupressure and acupuncture are other modalities. There are a lot of modalities that work to balance these systems. So the nadis come through and out, and they pretty much, the tips of them are right at the fingers. So we just want to wake them up. So we're just going to sort of bring the thumb and a finger around, and not too hard. You don't need to damage yourself. You're just waking it up. You're just saying, wakey, wakey. So you go around to each of the tips, The most powerful of the nadis, which any Reiki practitioner should know, are actually in the middle finger, the index finger, and the thumb. The thumb is an incredible power starter for the whole system. And you'll learn more about this throughout the course. Today we'll go over one of the mudras. Mudras are hand gestures. And a Tibetan Buddhist monk had explained to me many years ago that those hand mudras are almost like a satellite dish. And when you position the satellite dish in a certain direction, you are connecting to a very specific energy, right? And so we're going to be learning about mudras so that we can connect to certain energies, and those energies can begin to assist us, whether it's in alignment, rebalance, awakening, or evolution. So once you've gone around to each of your fingers and given a little click, click, and wakey, wakey, and you can even say, wakey, wakey, little naughty, right? We also want to wake up the palms, so you can do that just simply by rubbing together, lightly. Does not need to be intense. We can also rub the other side. And then we just want to softly bring them together, almost as if the hands, they're touching, but there's still a little bit of space so that we can begin to feel the energetic flow of them. If you're feeling any energetic stoppage, or like, you know, you're not immediately sensing that warmth, that connection, then perhaps there's too much going on in your shoulders. So just give yourself permission to release the shoulders. So one quick and easy way to do that is really just to bring them up to the ears and drop. Ooh, that felt good. And not too tight, especially if you carry a lot of tension in your shoulders, right? Or if you haven't been drinking enough water, this can end up hurting a little, so don't strain yourself. But just up and down. Okay. So bring your hands together again. And your elbows are loose. They're just bending. No extra effort. And then imagine as we bring these hands right in front of the heart center that it's a little temple. It's the extension of the heart, the hands. And as we connect our hands, it strengthens the flow into that central heart. So see if you feel yourself getting lost in your head throughout our time together, or at any time, see if you can just bring your consciousness right back to that central heart. Sometimes I used to like to imagine jumping into an elevator if I was getting stuck in my head. Little mini me, jump into an elevator and just drop, take it right down to the heart. And you might have to take it down a number of times, and that's okay. The more you practice, the better you become at connecting and remaining within this space, which does open the mind. It opens all that is below, access to the below and access to the above. So, as for me, I did mention that I am a Reiki master, practitioner, and teacher. I studied Usui back in 2009. I had already been teaching meditation techniques because I was using them in my personal life. And some people have requested for me, most especially after I had taken a week-long class with the Dalai Lama. And that was incredibly educational on a number of points. I have been meditating. I was introduced to meditation when I was 11 years old through a pagan group that I had found. And even before that, I had studied meditation through Catholicism, which not all people are aware of the meditative practices of the standard religions, of the more traditional religions. But meditation is something that is available through every different religious or spiritual pathway. And yet one does not require religion to, or even really an other identified dogma right, or belief system to plug into in order to benefit from meditation. Truth be told, you could be an atheist and still benefit from the awareness of the energetic system and from meditation. So the benefits of meditation I am always espousing, because we really can improve ourselves. We can make ourselves better. By better, I don't mean even good. I just mean an improved sense of self. We can increase our IQ after 6 weeks of continued, consistent meditation, based on the scientific definition of what meditation actually is. We can increase gray matter in our brains. So meditation, meditation, meditation. I'm a huge fan. There's that. This image is of me meditating. I had a theory that the kind of light that I was invoking at the time, I was working with the violet flame and Tibetan Buddhist meditation on this specific day that these pictures were taken. And I had a theory that if I invited a friend who also had access to her third eye, that if she just used a simple iPhone camera to take pictures as I was invoking certain lights and flames, that they would be able to be captured. And the person who was taking the photographs, I want to say, did not believe that this was going to be possible. So it didn't take for her to believe. It didn't even take mutual belief. I had a hypothesis, and we went out and we practiced it, and then it developed into a theory. So because now there was proof to some degree that even when only one believes and the other is in doubt, you can still have a result, right? You can still get proof. So my current website, I had to change my name. My business name used to be Heart Evolver, but after stepping away and taking a sabbatical from this work and teaching for the past couple of years, I allowed a website to go and someone took the name, which is good. Change is good. So my new business name is Mystics Alchemy 9. And the reason for that, I've upgraded and shifted my own energy a lot over this time. And so it really is the connector, the trifecta between my blog, my upcoming podcast, the writing that I do, and the work and opportunities that I offer for other people. So I asked you, what are you made of? And while you might be made of a lot, you are made of 7 octillion. I don't know if you've ever heard that large a number before, but 7 octillion atoms. And that's the reason why I put all of these zeros so that you can see. That is the size of 7 octillion. So 7 being the number of the divine, often seen as the God number, and atoms, right? So when we look at atoms, I'm going to show you some images of them under microscopes on our next slide, but an atom is approximately 99% empty space or energy. So if an atom is made of 99% empty space or energy or no thing, right? Nothing, no thing. So something that is no thing is energy. So that means of everything that you can see of yourself, of all that is physical, 99% of 7 octillion electrons. The electrons are what make the mass, the matter, what we can see, right? And what we believe in. So there's far more to you than what you can see. And there is far more to this world than what we can see. I think I have been graced enough to be able to perhaps begin to see 3% of what exists out there. From a lot of experiences over my life, from having been born, a little super psychic kid who eventually surrendered to my vision and abilities, and then developing them so that I could evolve. But for the most of humanity, all they ever see that exists is 0.001% of what is. We are limited by what we see as physical. So there is so much more to us, both in the outside world and within. So here are some images of a hydrogen atom, the basis of all life on Earth. And so this image in the middle is of an electron itself. The interesting thing about the scientific microscopes that are used to identify electrons is that electrons don't even present as matter unless you are looking for them. That creates a principle, and that principle is, I see what I believe. Many of us say, I can only believe what I see. The inverse is also very cunning and seductive, that what I believe, I begin to see. Of course, we also have the elements of time and space. So as we develop new beliefs and understandings, we begin to invite that matter, that material, that reality to form before our own eyes, right? So we have the challenge of our eyes, and we have a sacred ability to open vision in order to see more and to create. We are natural creators, made in the likeness of our Creator. We are creators, right? And it doesn't matter to me how you define that creative force. It can be as simple as nature herself. So like the atoms that are your creative foundation, you contain the potential of 7 octillion times the space, energy, or frequency of the matter that you are. Now, I wanted to speak to you a bit about the tree of life. The tree of life is an outer symbol and an inner symbol. One of the statements that comes from the Emerald Tablets, which is said to have been written by Thoth. Then later it was claimed that Hermes wrote the Emerald Tablets. The Emerald Tablets themselves, not a very large text, but a very important and quality text that has been passed down from kings and holy men for centuries and studied diligently in order to get closer to understanding this principle. I'm sure you have heard it before. Oftentimes it is clipped. The actual words of it are clipped. And when we take away certain words, sometimes we can miss the real meaning, the central meaning of something. So the statement is, as above corresponds with the below. So below does correspond with the above. So, as within, so without. And then there's a bit more to that text, which is not here. So this refers to the teachings of the Emerald Tablets. Now, as you take in this image, right, and at this point, your brain might be swimming. So take in this image and then reconnect to the central heart. Astrologers throughout the ages understand that this statement applies in a larger macrocosm. And that is addressing that when I speak to the stars, when I speak to the planets, and I mean when I step outside on my balcony at night and I identify a star or a planet, and I specifically speak, communicate to that star or planet has the ability to correspond, to communicate back with me. So that is the astrological basis of this statement. Now, there is also a within element. And there are many examples and paradigms we could go over for this, but just for our purposes, we're now going to bring this into our own chakra system. So there is an as above to every below. The root chakra, which is located at the center of the legs, right? It travels down between the legs. For women, it travels down a little bit lower. We want to imagine almost like a trumpet head going down right between the legs, overlapping a bit of the thighs. And that trumpet for women, because we are internal creatures, right? It will go probably to, in most of us when it's well developed, it will aim straight down toward the ground, the opening of the trumpet. And it will probably go to like the first third of the upper thigh. In men, because they're external creatures, right, their sex organs are externalized, it's going to travel down a little bit further to the mid thigh. And so there's more root chakra within the feminine because we are internalized creatures. Our sex organs are internal, right? So there's slight variation between the male system and the female system. However, we all have a root chakra. Now, the opposite, the above of the root chakra, the counterbalance is the crown, right? So as I develop, harmonize the root, I develop my ability to connect above. Right? It's almost creating a certain level of antenna and connectivity to the world of the spirit, right? Or to the outer world. Each of the chakras have a balancing chakra, the sacral to the third eye, the solar plexus to the throat. And then we're like, oh, but what about the heart chakra here in the center? Well, there are more than 7 chakras. In this course, we will focus on the primary 7 because it is a world of information, but there are more. And so heart connects to soul star, which is above, further than the video can show you. There is a balance point though, and there is an above and a below of each. So in this, the below is not less than the above, simply different points. So when we look at words, we want to watch for our judgments. We want to just sort of pause any judgment. So if you thought at some point, what is above must be better than what is below, right? Like as if it would be better to develop the crown chakra without the root chakra. No. So there is nothing, the root, if you spend a whole lifetime working on developing and balancing the root chakra, that would continue to expand your connection, and it would definitely be good enough, right? So the root chakra is actually the gateway to bliss when it's fully developed and harmonized. So as within, so without is another aspect of this emerald tablet. What we have within us, what are you made of? You are made of the stars. Right? And while it's a fraction of a percent, the anchorage, the below of the stars is within you. And so we have an ability, like has an ability to communicate with like. And so there is an aspect of us that can communicate above to below and below to above. And it takes really accessing and aligning our channel. So part of the reason why the posture of meditation is so important in a chakra practice is because we are aligning. If you take the 7 chakras and looked at them as if they were a map, you could overlap them to the 7 primary planets, right, of our Milky Way. And they would align on that map. We are made to echo the universe. Additionally, biology tells us that we are 70% or more, this varies in each individual, of water, right? So we are made of water. The chemical composition of that water that we are made of is an exact match to the ocean. So we are connected to the forces of nature, to the elements, to the stars, and within. And just as the ocean has waves and ebbs and tides, the more in sync we become with that, and that we respect the ocean. Anyone who knows or lives near an ocean or has been to the beach of an ocean knows that you must respect the water. You would not just randomly throw babies in the tide and say, hope for the best. We understand that the ocean can take your life and can also sustain and give life. So we must respect the ocean within as we do the ocean without. And we are connected intimately to these forces. The 7 primary chakras begin with the root chakra, as I mentioned earlier. And next above that, and you can, if you have hands free, you can bring your hands to these points, right? So if you were to touch the core of the root chakra, it's actually right at the base, right? So it's a very personal touch. But it's right there at the center, and it is hinged at the spine, right? So it travels down from the coccyx bone and then travels right straight down through the center of the earth. So if you begin to just connect to that as an image, as an idea, as a sensation. Now, for any of you who might be thinking, I am not a visual person, I challenge you this. If you are not a visual person, then you have never worried one day in your life. You have never imagined anything bad happening. You have never had any, you've never had any idea that anything could go wrong. If you are capable of visualizing, then you do have the ability to, you've had that experience of, oh my God, I'm so worried, this might happen, that might happen. That's a visualization, right? So you do have the ability to visualize. And now we're going to use that visualization for the powers of good. So just to visualize the center of ourselves and just sort of start to imagine, even if you want to teeter a little bit, finding center. And you don't have to know what that is right now. Just find it, right? Give yourself permission. The intelligence of your body is greater than the limited aspect of the analytical self. So little teeter right between those sits bones, which are right under the cushiest parts of the bum. And then right center, in the center between those sits bones and the pelvic bone. Now above that, about 2 inches above the pelvic bone itself, whether on males or females, just above that is the sacral chakra. So it's pretty low. It overlays and is connected to the sex organs and some of the lower digestive. And so the root chakra is connected to the digestive organs and some of the sex organs. So these two interact with each other. When one is off, the other can be pulled off. Above that is the solar plexus. The solar plexus is, let's see, if you took your finger from your belly button and went about 2.5 to 3 inches above that. So it's right at the base of where your rib cage opens. That's where the top aspect of it is. And it travels down about 2 to 3 inches. So just take your palm and feel into that space. The will center. Above that is the central heart, which we already located, but always feel free to touch and explore these spaces on yourself so that you can begin to feel like the heat or the energy that is moving through, right? It's not always heat. Cold doesn't mean bad. It may simply be a vibration, a sensation of energy moving within a certain area. And the more relaxed our shoulders and arms are as we explore with touch, is the more that we can become aware of these areas. Then above that, we have the throat chakra, which really is at this gullet point. And then right here. So the trumpet is here and it comes out forward. And we have the third eye, which is right in between the eyebrows and up about 1/2 inch to 1 inch. So it's this whole space. The more developed it is the more access we have, and the more that they expand a little bit. Now above that, we have the crown chakra. So the crown chakra, the base of the crown chakra will be under my fluffy hair, right? So it would be closest to the skull itself. And just out about 2 or 3 centimeters above the skin. And then the second layer takes up about 1 inch of space, dependent on development, but just about 1 inch, 1/2 inch to 1 inch above that space. So right to the edges of my hair. And then the third layer to the crown chakra comes out and above and begins to kind of almost point up, like if you were wearing a bun in your hair, it would be where pretty much, if the bun were on top, it would be where that bun reaches to, right about to where my hands are. So that's the location of these chakras. The subtle bodies. So the subtle bodies, these energetic bodies, they are connected to each of the chakras. So if you can begin to imagine, first, the chakras themselves, not only do they have a front, they also have a back. So whatever you imagined coming out front, now imagine that a second trumpet is going out back. Front of heart, back of heart. Front of third eye, back of third eye. And so these 2 points, so let's say we have these 2 points of the third eye, those trumpets in the center of the trumpet, they are taking in energy. And how we take in energy is through time, experience, emotion, perception. So what we see, what we're doing, that all creates a response or a reaction in our experience on every different level of being. And so those experiences are being taken in as energy into our system. And then let's say the trumpet. So if this is the trumpet and this is the center, this is the take in part, around that trumpet, we have this outer layer. And through that outer layer, our understanding, our processing of a certain experience now fills into the energy field, right? So this could also be our beliefs about a situation, which may or may not align to the greater truth, right? Or even our greater truth. But that our processing of an experience now fills into the energy field. The energy field is composed of 7 primary bodies. Those 7 primary bodies are connected to each of the chakras. So the body that is closest to our skin is connected to the root chakra. So there's an element of my root experience that now washes over all of the surface of me. There is an element then, and this is, right, the etheric template. So it is how the energetic body is connected into us, how the soul is anchored into soul and spirit, are anchored into this physical cartridge that your soul has chosen, right? So then the next up is the emotional, the subconscious emotional body, right? So the lower emotional body, lower, not lesser, just lower, is connected to the sacral chakra. And so from the sacral chakra, just another inch out above the etheric template, now that second body washes up and around the whole entire system. The solar plexus, the lower mental, conscious will body, where we begin to merge mind and physical reality, because it's conscious, right? So this is the third body. That chakra, the trumpet, comes out a little further than the sacral, and it creates the third body of conscious will, and that wraps all around, right? And are you beginning to get a sense of this energetic field that surrounds you? Yes. So now the heart chakra is connected to the astral body, right? Which can be a part of higher consciousness, but the heart chakra itself gives us the truth, right? So I could go off on a tangent there, but I'm not gonna. So tangent restrained for another day. So, but this astral body is the fourth body, so it comes out a little further than the solar plexus and washes all around our entire physical body. The throat chakra, the fifth body, right? Higher emotional when aligned, certainly. So the higher emotional body and identity center comes out a little bit further than the astral and washes over the entire energy field. The third eye, higher mental capabilities, washes out sixth body all around the energy field. And then the crown chakra, the seventh body, only one trumpet, 3 layers, one trumpet. Same thing with the root, one trumpet. There's no front and back with that. So they are juxtaposition, as below, so above, as above, so below. Ooh, that always neats me out. I freaking love anyway. So, so we have that, and that creates another layer of the energetic field, right? So it's one energetic field of 7 bodies. And the more aware that we become of these bodies, this is one of the primary reasons why Reiki, receiving Reiki, is so helpful if you want to develop or heal quicker, because we're clearing, in part of the practice of Reiki, we are clearing the energy field of that which has already been processed that is no longer necessary. We're never taking, you can't take a person's consciousness. A Reiki session is not going to like wipe out, clean slate somebody's brain, but it's going to give them space of the things that they say to themselves, oh, I'm done with this, I'm really done. And you know how you've made that choice before, like I'm done. And then you go for, you know, you walk 10 feet and the argument or the thing that was, that you were done with 10 paces behind you is now like, but what about this, but what about that? That's a lot of the time because it's in the energy field. This thing we're ready to let go of, now it's looming in the energy field, and it kind of feels like a constant companion. Where Reiki, part of that practice, has the ability to clear the energy field so that it can match up with our intention and give us space to create again. Then the brain and other facilities have to catch up, and new pathways need to be created. And we can use the tools of neuroscience blended with metaphysical practice in order to create the you that you are wanting to create. New alignment, right? And that's really a part of the evolutionary process of I am this version of normal that I've known all my life, I am ready to change. These are how I can use these certain modalities, sciences, tools to amplify that. Now, meditation through the consciousness of chakras then creates a platform within ourselves to start to have more control over our own domain, right? Never over the outside world. The world will continue to be chaos, but we do have the ability to heal and develop our power within this system and to evolve. Not everybody wants to evolve, and not everybody needs to make that their goal. Okay? But so if you are just looking to harmonize your experience, that is a beautiful goal. It's like a beautiful, beautiful goal, and it is within reach. That is what I want you to know most of all, like that it is within reach, and it is something that you can give to yourself through practice and through doing things that that you're not used to doing, right? Or perhaps doing things that you are used to doing, but then changing them up a little bit, right? So we are incredibly, incredibly powerful vehicles, far beyond what we realize we are and the capabilities of what we are. 7 octillion additional capabilities than we could possibly be aware of, right? So think within that limitless space. There is a limitlessness, and I wouldn't even want to understand everything that there is, right? But each day to know that I am not limited. I am not limited by any experience, not even the most repetitive experiences of my life, of this life, right? Or even of all of the lives. We all have the ability to harmonize, balance, rebalance, align, or choose new alignment, choose new evolution. We do have the ability to change regardless of our age. And there are tools that make that possible. Okay. So before we get into, we're not going to get into that. We did talk about the as above, so below, but I'll just give you this visual here. And then, so I'm going to be pausing the recording and creating a second recording for the meditation itself. So for those of you who are listening, it's always a good idea to take a kind of mental break in between these 2 points. And then just know that you can always watch this again. This video will be up and available. And I will send out a link so that you can watch it at in your own pace. And then when we come back, or in the second video, we will be aligning the anchorage of the subtle body. So we'll be working with waking up, just the way we stimulated the nadis earlier and the palm chakra, the palm subchakras that are connected to the heart. We are going to be waking up and stimulating the internal matrix of the energy field of the governor's channel, right, which is kind of shaped like a horseshoe a little bit, which looks like an electrical circuitry. And that goes around the center of them, and also the central channel, which runs parallel to the spine itself. So whether or not you are to move forward with the full tour of the chakras, that meditation is, it really has some powerful abilities to change lives. So, so we'll see you in the second video, and then I will give you the information about the course itself and how you can take advantage of this opportunity. All right.